Hello. Welcome to the channel. I have to apologize for the screen and what's behind me, but we're doing kind of a in-between video. I'll get to it in a second. If you're new here, you should know usually I have a whole setup. Today, however, I do not, but we will discuss why in a second, and we'll get to the actual video and what we're putting out here today. But if you're a writer, if you like anything that has to do with writing and books, if you are a creative of any sort, then welcome. Welcome to the channel. My name is Inessa. I write under the pen name A.N. Sage, and I write in mystery, fantasy, romantasy now, both in YA and in adult. I've also been both self-published and traditionally published, and on this channel, I pretty much share everything that helps me in my writing, things that I've learned along the way, and pretty much anything that keeps me creative, excited about writing, and anything that keeps me continuing to practice the craft. And today is one of those videos. But the reason that we're like this, and I look a little disheveled, and there's Halloween costumes in the background for my little kid, is because I actually got a bit of a food poisoning this weekend, and that was when I was scheduling to do like a much more like put together video for you guys. However, I didn't want you to go for long without a video because obviously I wasn't able to do it this weekend, and we are leaving for Halloween. That's the costume that I am working on for our kid. She's going to be a pink witch, by the way, and her whole costume lights up and her shoes light up, and it's going to be pretty awesome and epic. But I still have to tailor it to her because we had to get a bigger costume. She's in between sizes, so it's a whole thing. So I'm working on that this evening. But I didn't want you guys to wait too long for the videos. And so I was thinking of like, what can I kind of put together that you have a video and it's something that you want to see. And a lot of people have been asking me about, like, ever since I did the reasons why I went back to Scrivener video, which I'll link somewhere in the cards. A lot of people have been asking me about seeing the back end of how I have my Scrivener set up. And I thought that was going to be a pretty quick, easy video to put together, something that will be fast, but something that you guys wanted to see. So I did put that together today, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of hop on the back end of my Scrivener, and I'm going to show you how I'm organizing it for this current novel that I am writing. I'm working on book 2 in the Beasts of Hedge End series, and you will get to see a whole bunch of different types of behind the scenes. So don't leak the information. But this is book 2 because book 1 is still in pre-order, not coming out till next year. But this is what I'm working on, and I wanted to kind of be really open with you guys with what Scrivener actually looks like for a work in progress that I'm in right now. So I want to minimize myself, which I think we're all grateful for, because I'm looking tragic. And I'm going to kind of show you my Scrivener setup. So I do have both. This is exactly how I usually write. So I have both two documents open. On the bottom is what I am writing. So this is, I'm just have it to chapter 1 because I don't want too many spoilers here. So this is unedited. This is chapter 1. And then that's where I am writing. On the top here is where I have my outline. And I'm going to kind of show you what I'm using. I'm also going to link the template that I used for this. So I got a template. I did change it. So what I'll link is the boning of the template that I used. So I got a Save the Cat template, which is what you'll see here. The template is divided into pre-writing and manuscript. And so the pre-writing section, there's pitches where you can write your logline, your short synopsis. I don't have these yet. I haven't worked on them yet. And it's on the left side, by the way, is where I'm clicking. And then you kind of have your outline. So the outline is what you're working on here. And then you can see there's 15 beats because this is the Save the Cat outline. However, I went through all of these and I actually tailored them more to, I'm going to get out of here because there's spoilers, but I actually tailored them all more towards romantasy because this is a romantasy. This is a romantasy with a mystery core. And so I had to tailor the Save the Cat beats to reflect both the Save the Cat beats, which I like to write with, but also romancing the beat, which is basically the 3-act structure in Save the Cat, but with a romance in it. And then also some of the cozy mystery and the thriller beats that I personally have developed for myself that worked. And so I kind of combined it all into some like Frankenstein version of a beat sheet that works for me and this specific series. I do this pretty much every time that I have a different series or a different genre that I'm working in, is that I take the type of beats that would normally work in that genre, and then I take from my other genres that I know I enjoy writing, and I take beats from those and combine it into like specific genres. And I find that way, because I'm always blending genres when I write, I find it helps me the most to work on it that way. So on this side here is the outline and the storyboard. So at the top, I keep my outline and the storyboard. On the bottom is the chapter that I'm writing. And I divide my manuscript, as you'll see on the left-hand side, into Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And as I'm writing, so right now I'm on chapter 9, but I'm going to be working on chapter 10. And so what I'll do is once I edit chapter 9, because I do edit as I write, once I edit chapter 9, I'll go in and I'll actually add like a new text document into Act 1. So actually this would be Act 2, because I have 9 chapters in Act 1, and now we're in that break into 2 part of the manuscript, and so we'll be going into Act 2, and so it's empty now, but it will be populated with chapters later. So that's kind of the division of the pre-writing and the post-writing. And the way that I work on this is essentially I will put together the beats, and I'll set that up in this pre-writing section here, and I will go through it. I don't use the scene list or concepts and themes. I can. This is a second book in a series, so I don't really use this part of the template, but you can. I don't have a scene list. I use my outline storyboard, because you can have the 2 windows open. However, if you don't have 2 windows open, you could just take these and compile them into the scene list and use it that way. But I find that the way that this template is set up, it works just fine for me this way. Then on the bottom here, we have a note section. I really like this one. So I have it set up. I haven't been using it yet, because again, I just started writing. So normally if I delete something as I'm editing, so I write one day, I edit the next day before I start writing again, and that's how I go about it. But if I delete anything, I will take let's say I deleted this first paragraph, I would copy it, take it, and put it into this deleted scenes document, which I will keep like at the top, right? So for now, let's just keep the chapter on the bottom and go through these. Then we have ideas for future books. And as I'm writing, if I get ideas, I will just come in here and I will literally just type in my ideas, as they come to me. And that's what I would use that for. And usually those are ideas for this particular book that I am working on. And now I do have a section here, which I'll click out of because it has a lot of spoilers, but I do have a section here that's called future books. And over there, as I'm editing, as I'm working with my editor, things that we are thinking of for the future of the series, that's where the future books ideas will go. So ideas is for current book ideas. And that's things like, don't forget to add a mention of this, or you mentioned this kind of gem doing this, make sure you come back to it, wrap up this loose end, what happened here, like these kinds of things as I'm writing, so that at the end, when I'm doing my big edit, I can go through this and make sure that everything is aligned. Front matter is just general things here. Research, I don't really use this. Sometimes I have some research notes, but usually they go on my Bible, and I'll show you what my Bible looks like. Sorry, I'm getting thirsty. Oh my God, water is the best. So instead, what I do is I have a Bible. And so I keep my Bible in the same place as I keep every single one of my books. And so I will have a Scrivener project for every single book. So I won't have a Scrivener project for the full series because I find that gets to be a bit too much. I guess I could. But the only thing I would do is every single one of these will have this Bible. So I will just copy paste the Bible into the actual project. I could just keep all the books together in one, and I will consider, I might do that for possibly this. But as I'm writing, I like having my folders for one book only. I like having just one manuscript. I guess I could just add the next manuscripts in there as well. And I'll think about it. I just don't want the file to be so big that it takes me forever to upload it somewhere else if I need to, because I am syncing it through Dropbox when I'm writing, just so I can write cross-platform. And so I don't want the Dropbox account to be so overwhelmed with this giant file that when I get to say, like, let's say there's 10 books in this series, and now I can't really sync it without making the file smaller. So it just makes sense to just sync the specific book I'm working on. And so that's kind of how I'm using it. But for the Bible, so what we have here is I have characters and under, so I have characters, I have places, the gems that I'm working with, the history of Hedge End and just the general history of the magic, clothing, and the actual like beasts and stuff like that. So this is kind of like my main Bible. So we have like characters. So Clara Aldridge is a main character. I've got just like a random picture of her from Pinterest. This is probably AI generated, which is terrible. But I mean, I'm not going to use it for anything else. It's just like Pinterest research, and I just drop it in here just so I kind of have like a visual of what Clara looks like if I need it. And then I have like a few notes about her. Same thing for Willoughby, you know, like these are the main people. This is Oswin. And then we've got Sergei. Like these are just like, and these were like, I'd gotten these like a long time ago. And so I don't even think the characters actually look like that in my mind anymore. But this was just like, just initially when I was thinking about it. And so we have like supporting characters. We've got like other, you know, like all the stuff. And so all the characters would be here. And then we have places. And so we have like Hedge End, and for places, I just have like a few notes and kind of what I visually picture the city looking like. So that's kind of what I had in my mind just to have it. Under Aldrich House, I have some images of the house that Clara lives in, just for when I'm using descriptions. I like to have these pictures around because they help me clarify like what I'm seeing. It makes it easier for me to grasp onto details when I'm describing certain parts. And then I have a few like sample layouts of what a manor would look like. We have gems, and this is just a list of all the main gems and the power that they hold. I have gem magic on here, and this is literally just like all kinds of things that I've kind of gathered and put together and all of that. We have the Stone King and gem history. This is all the history, the Trust War. Like these are all things that are going to come up in the book. And then we have clothing, and I just have literal pictures of clothing that I could use in my brain as I'm writing, for male and female. Like that's essentially like what I have under these. For the actual beasts themselves, I also have visuals. This is all visuals. So stuff I'll take from Pinterest and what I imagine as I'm writing some of these creatures, because the book has a lot of like horror elements. And so I find that visualizing these horror elements and taking pieces from all these images and creating these new characters and these creatures, it really helps me to have the visual. And so when I'm writing, for example, if I need to look at an image of like a beast, let's say I'm writing like a beast attack here, I would go and open this document and reference like this creature and maybe like this one and combine them together as I'm kind of creating an image of what the cursed beast is that is in the specific scene. So that's pretty much how I use it. When it comes to compiling, so I know people have like issues with compiling sometimes. I use the Scrivener compiler in two ways. So the one way that I use it is to compile the outline. So I would go in here and I would go into compile, and I would compile an outline only. So I would go outline document, and I would figure out like which one of these I would use. So I would normally place the outline somewhere in the manuscript so I can compile it, because you can't compile pre-writing sections, it seems, or I haven't figured out how. So I would just move this and drag it into the manuscript folder, and I would compile only the outline board. for myself. And I do that so that even though I have Scrivener that's synced on my phone as well, I find it's also helpful for me to have it in my iPhone notes section just as text, like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. That way, it's because I do a lot of transcribing and voice recording as well. So if I'm like in the car, I don't have to like sync my Scrivener app on my phone, because sometimes it takes a second to sync. I could just like look at the notes and be like, okay, I left off here. I'm on this scene now. It's in my notes. Let me, as I'm driving, to start recording that so that I have some information ready for me to work with later. So that's how I would use the compile for the outline. And then for the manuscript, it's the same. I would just go into the compile, and then I would just compile the manuscript. I would compile every chapter. I would not compile the chapter headings of the acts. And then every chapter, I would change it to chapter here, because otherwise it would compile a little bit differently. And you can actually do this like in here. So I could go into the manuscript, and under section type, you could label it as chapter. And, sometimes I do forget to do that. So I have to do it in the compile section instead. But for the most part, you can do everything here. So you can grab all of these, and now they're all chapters. So when you go to compile, it'll compile it as a chapter and not a section, which means it would give you those like, page breaks that you need, and it would format the chapters correctly. And that's pretty much how I use Scrivener. It's not, I know it seems daunting, but when you use it for a minimal thing like this, like I'm doing, then that's really all I need to do. The other one thing I really do like to do here is I really like to see my targets, so my manuscript targets, and I just use that to see my words. And I also really like to look at like project settings, so I can kind of see what sections I have in here. And I also, on the targets, I actually like to set like a reset for myself, so I can see how many words I am writing when I'm writing directly in Scrivener. I find I use the targets and all of that less and less so, because like I said, I voice record and also I write on my free write a lot. And so, and then I take it from there and I move it into Scrivener. So I don't use the targets quite as much, but if you're typing in Scrivener, it's great. But as far as setup is concerned, which is mostly what this video was about, this is my setup. So let me just make myself bigger again. So that's pretty much it for how my Scrivener is laid out. If you have suggestions and something that you might be doing on Scrivener that might be better, do let me know, because I'm always looking for a fun new idea and ways to organize my project. So definitely let me know. I'm sorry for such a short video this time, but I was very much under the weather, like I said, and we have a ton going on, and I just didn't want you guys to miss out on any videos. And so we did this instead. So if you have any other questions, happy to answer them. If I missed anything in the video, do let me know and I can answer them in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a subscriber. And if you watched till the end, tell me what you use to write your books on. And yeah, with that said, I hope you guys stay magical, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye.